All right. Again, thank you everybody who is joining today and anybody who is going to watch the replay. My name is Nicole McFarland. I run the Oily Ponderosa. I work and distribute essential oils and other products from Young Living. And today we're going to talk about essential oils, a one-on-one on essential oils. So a little bit about me and my story. I started using essential oils probably about 2.5 years ago, maybe longer. I was getting oils from online. I did a little bit of research. I'm just an analytical person, so I researched a little bit and I found essential oils on Amazon. I didn't even go to the Whole Foods, but I found them on Amazon, and I was getting like a 4-ounce bottle of lavender. My that was my initial oil was lavender and eucalyptus. I wanted eucalyptus to use in my sauna, and I wanted lavender to use at night to help us sleep. It wasn't until maybe a year later, a little less than that, that I was talking to a friend of mine who works for Young Living, and she was, giving me all the details on Young Living, and I looked at the bottles, that the oils that you get from Young Living, and I thought 15 milliliters, 5 milliliters. Oh my God! Like I've got 4 ounces at home that I'm doing great work with, and so as she was trying to explain to me that she only uses 9 drops of essential oils from a Young Living bottle in her diffuser, I'm like, wait a second. I use like a whole dropper. So that a dropper, like with a little plunger, is like 40, at least 40 to 60 drops of oil. So it was at that moment that I realized that the potency of that particular essential oil wasn't up to par. It made me, later I learned that that oil had to have been cut with something in order for it to be able to deliver a 4-ounce bottle of oil for, I think I was getting it for like $30. To get 4 ounces of lavender oil, you can't even produce the plant material required to get 4 ounces is way more than what I was paying for that bottle. So I knew at that moment that I wasn't using authentic oils. So that's why I got into Young Living. I've been wanting to do this for my own health reasons, and I'm enjoying it thus far. So today I want to talk about, I'm going to go through the gamut of what essential oils are, why we use them, how you use them, the safety of them, etc. So the first question is, what are essential oils? They're aromatic, they're volatile, and they're liquids that come from shrubs, flowers, trees, roots, fruit rinds, seeds. They can come from grasses, gum resin, leaves, stems, wood, and like pine needles. They're the lifeblood of the plant. The chemistry of essential oils is extremely complex. They're highly concentrated. They consist of hundreds of different and unique chemical compounds. They're extracted from um, those plant types from through distillation, cold press, like fruit rinds are cold pressed, and then there's also hydrodistillation. There's a large volume of plant material that's required to produce a very small amount of oil. So you kind of heard me talking about that earlier with the lavender. The plant material that's required to produce, 4 ounces of lavender is pretty significant. Essential oils are not carrier oils. So carrier oils are like your vegetable oils, like your jojobas and your vegetable and nut oils. So you're like your jojobas and your coconut oils and stuff like that. That is not what an essential oil is. So what do you do with them, or what do essential oils do for you? They support your body systems. They support your skeletal, muscular, circulatory, respiratory. They'll support your endocrine system, your immune system, and they also help your body processes like hormone process, brain function, and your brain health. They ensure that you can maintain and keep a healthy weight. They work a lot on emotions and helping to reduce stress. They've been used for thousands of years. They've used over those thousands of years that they were using essential oils, they were mostly using them for, during spiritual times, prayer. They've used them for beauty aids. And like we said earlier, they use them for emotional support. They can be used as an alternative to toxic cleaning products. While we can't suggest that essential oils can cure, treat, or prevent disease, history suggests that plants and aromatics were used for medicinal purposes in ancient times. So how do you use an essential oil? You don't need to be an aromatherapist, but in most cases, you can apply them topically by rubbing them on your skin. You can diffuse or inhale them. So if you put essential oils in your hands and cup over your face to breathe them in, they're just as effective. You can also drop a few drops of essential oils in a warm, a bowl of warm water and put a towel over your head and inhale them that way. So if you don't have a diffuser and you've got some, Young Living pure essential oils, I recommend just putting a couple drops in a bowl of water and just putting it over your head if you're wanting to help with support you with any seasonal issues. You can ingest them. You can ingest them neat. In some case, neat meaning you're not diluting the oil. You're just taking them in neat or in a veggie capsule. A lot of times, the recommendation is you put the essential oil and a carrier oil in the veggie capsule and take them internally, or you can cook with them. A Young Living has what they call a vitality line. So that's a line that can be used internally specifically. It's labeled differently. The preferred method for support with emotions or mood is going to be inhalation. So we talked about emotions earlier. Inhaling essential oils, it goes straight to the cortex of your brain, and it really helps with emotions and mood. That was one of the things that I recognized more quickly when I started to bring more authentic essential oils into my environment, is that my mood was changing. That's what I ultimately appreciate about the oils more than anything else, is that it is changing me emotionally, and it is changing my mood. They're changing my mood significantly. Topical is really great if you have sore muscles or ligament issues, or if you're having some, if you want to provide support for your bones. Digestion is great for boosting your immune system. So that's what we talked about, taking them internally. So I take some of the Vitality line essential oils internally. I'll take, like in the mornings, I'll drink what I call a tea, but it's just water, warm water with 1 drop of thieves, Vitality essential oil, 1 drop of peppermint Vitality essential oil, and 1 drop of lemon Vitality essential oil. And those 3 drops are giving my immune system a significant boost. So when you think about essential oils, taking them internally or applying them topically, tests have shown that oils reach your heart, liver, and thyroid in 3 seconds when they're inhaled. They've been found in the bloodstream within 26 seconds when you apply them topically. So essential oils are fat soluble. So when you're applying them topically, they pass through the skin barrier and right into your fat, and they just disperse throughout your body because they're fat soluble. A normal body will expel an essential oil a normal healthy body will expel an essential oil within 3 to 6 hours. So let's talk about science for a little bit. The power of an essential oil lies in its constituents. So you might, as you get essential oils, if you ever do research on essential oils, if you ever have one of those apps that speak to essential oils and what they do, you'll notice on there that there's a list of constituents. Those constituents are what make up the essential oil. No 2 oils are alike. As an example, lavender has 200 constituents, but in one of those apps, if you're looking at an app or if you're doing research, so if you're not running a test or having a test run on essential oil like lavender, you might not ever see or be able to Google the 200 constituents that are part of a lavender essential oil, because 5 of them are the major constituents, and those are the 5 that you're going to see more readily available. The molecule size of an essential oil is, sorry, are you saying I need to mute somebody? I think that's Yoli. I'll mute her. Thanks, Watts. The molecule size of an essential oil is really small. So we talked about when you apply essential oils topically and they disperse throughout your system, that's their molecules are so small, they're just moving all around. They have a unique ability to penetrate cell membranes. They travel through blood and tissue. And the most important thing that I found about essential oils was their ability to pass through the blood-brain barrier. So you've got blood that circulates around your brain. Not a lot of molecules are small enough to pass that. Toxic chemicals can pass that blood-brain barrier, and that's not a good thing. But what's really a good thing is that essential oils can do the same thing. So they're constantly giving your brain the support that it needs. And we talked about brain health support earlier. There's a lot of research available online about the powers of essential oils. So how many essential oils do you need? There's over 300 essential oils on earth, but you really only need like 10 to 20 oils to build a really good kit. Young Living Starter Kit, as an example, has 12 oils in there. They have 12 oils in the 5 milliliter bottles. That's a really good kit to get you started. You might only ever buy those 12 specific oils, but they are providing you the support that you need, and they're also helping your body's systems in the same way that other essential oils can if you ever wanted to move beyond just having those 12 oils. But 12 oils is just fine to get you started. Let's talk a little bit about quality and grades of essential oils. So authentic, we're going to talk about authentic, absolute, manipulated, perfume, and synthetic. Authentic essential oils are 100% pure. They've got no additives. They've got no synthetics. That's the type of essential oil that you're going to find from Young Living. There's an absolute. Absolute essential oils are processed or distilled with chemicals. And the purpose for distilling an absolute with chemical is to get more oil out of the plant material. So it helps with extraction of the oil from the plant. So you get more, your end result is more oil. There's manipulated. I talked a little bit earlier about the 4-ounce lavender oil that I bought off Amazon. I believe it was manipulated. It's made to smell more pleasing, and it's less earthy because the species have been modified and or they've added additional species into that plant to make it smell good. Because I mean, the thing is that people want oils to smell good because they want to use them as air freshener in their home. Well, that's not the purpose of essential oils. They're not made to make your home smell good. They're made to help and support your body's system. So the manipulated oils are ones that when we say, well, smell lavender, Young Living's lavender compared to the lavender that you bought, and you can smell the difference, you're probably dealing with a manipulated oil from the other brand. Perfume oils are mixed in a lab. They're synthetic. They enhance the aroma, and they're non-therapeutic. Synthetic is fully lab created. You'll buy a product. You might go and buy something at a store that says a scented product. That's not an essential oil at all. It's purely synthetic. Only authentic oils can be used for therapeutic purposes. So all the other oils other than the authentic are oils that let's say absolute or manipulated. You can use them, but the therapeutic benefits of those oils are significantly lessened as a result of them being adulterated. Young Living specifically has a seed to seal promise. That seed to seal meaning they own the oil from seed to seal until it gets to your home. They have their own farms. You can look at other essential oil companies. They don't have their own farms. Young Living is the only essential oil company that has its own farm. So a lot of essential oil companies, what they're doing is they have a source, right? So they know, a farm in France for lavender, and they're acquiring their oil from that farm in lavender. They're not that farm for lavender. They're not going to that farm, and they're not going to that farm and telling that farm, hey, I've got strict standards and I want you to meet those standards before you send me my oil. That's not how it works when you don't either own that farm or have a partnership with that farm. So Young Living does both. They own their own, and they have partnerships. Those partnerships, they need to meet the standards of Young Living. One thing that's really cool about Young Living about the founder of Young Living, is that he went and found untapped soil. So that means nothing else is grown on the soil. The only thing that's been grown on the soil is, for instance, the lavender that he planted or that he had planted on that particular soil. What I find interesting about that is that I live on 15 acres. I've got soil out here that used to grow cotton. And so I went out and decided I wanted to plant some fruit trees. My husband and I planted them, and after 2 weeks, they were fully decked in like what we thought was webs. We thought it was maybe an infestation of some type of bug. And what we found was you can't grow fruit trees on former cotton soil that grew cotton, because it gives those fruit trees cotton root rot. So that is a very important thing when you hear the founders say, you know, I went to untapped land to grow this plant material. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. So I really appreciate that about Young Living essential oils specifically. They're in 20 international markets. There are 50 highly trained scientists that work for Young Living with over 180 years of combined lab experience. There's 12 partner labs, and Young Living offers over 600 products. They don't just do essential oils. They've got personal care products. They've got baby products. They've got supplements across the wazoo. Their supplements, what's really cool is they're infused with essential oils, which really helps distribute the vitamin that you're taking, because that vitamin will attach, the larger size molecule of the vitamin will attach to the smaller size molecule of the essential oil and make them more bioavailable within your body, so you use a lot more of it. We talked a little bit about the untapped land. Young Living oils go through an 8-point testing to ensure they're pure. So some companies will run, they call it a GCMS. They'll run that one report. It'll tell you whether or not the essential oil has an adulterated constituent in there, and they move on. Young Living has set the standard for their essential oils. And so when their testing is done, they match that test of that product or of that batch to their standard. And if it doesn't meet, they'll send that oil back. They'll sell that oil to other companies. It doesn't mean it's a bad oil. It just does not meet their standard. So they won't use it. That's why some people, you know, get in their feelings when Young Living goes out of stock. It's like, if they didn't harvest that plant at the right time, and therefore the constituents were exact to their liking or to their standard, they won't use the oil. So we'll just, you know, remain out of stock of a particular oil because that batch just wasn't good. The tests are run in triplicate. They run the test 3 times. They run it at the farm. They run it when the end result comes to Utah, which is where they have their oils, and they run it a 3rd time before they bottle it. And again, they're looking to ensure that it matches, that it aligns to their standard. And if it doesn't, like I said, they sell them. There's also 3rd-party testing. So like every other essential oil company, they do 3rd-party tests for the most part. You can't just run tests internally and people trust you. So they do partner with 2 external labs and have external testing done as well. Young Living oils are hand weeded. There are no pesticides or herbicides used in the process, and they don't use any other toxic chemicals in their growing their plants. They're harvested at a peak time. I think we talked about that a little bit earlier. You have to harvest your plants at a peak time. If you don't, if you harvest them too early or if you harvest them too late, they won't, the constituents, the end result of that product will not meet the standard that Young Living has set. So I get a lot of questions about how can other companies sell oil so cheap? Because obviously they're growing plant material and they're distilling a product. So how can they sell them so cheap? And for the most part, it's just they're cutting corners to save money. Like we talked about earlier, using chemical solvents to extract oil, you just get more oil out of the batch. If you spray your plant material with pesticides, you'll have more crop to distill. So that's another good thing. I mean, that's another thing to point out, is that if you're not spraying your crop with pesticides, then you're probably the end result is going to be less crop, which obviously will produce less oil. Companies that use pesticides, obviously their plants can grow without any issue, so they get more plant material out of it, but they have pesticides in their oil. And also dilution. I think the 4 ounce, lavender oil I was getting was absolutely and obviously diluted, because I wasn't getting 4 ounces for $30. That's just wasn't happening. Let's talk a little bit about safety. There are certain oils that are photosensitive. So if you're using like a lemon, like your citrus oils are going to be photosensitive. So if you put a citrus oil on, you do not want to go outside for 24 to 48 hours. Examples of citrus oils are like lemon, grapefruit, or citrus fresh that you can get from Young Living. Some oils should be diluted. So if you're new to oils, you should be diluting your oil with a carrier oil. If you have sensitive skin, you should be diluting your oil with a carrier oil, or if you're using a hot oil. So like oregano is a hot oil. You put oregano on your skin and that sucker's gonna burn. Now, if you do that and you're like, oh my God, this is hot, nope, just rub a carrier oil on top and it'll help. Like I said, it's fat soluble, they're fat soluble. So it'll help get that oil, distributed, and it'll reduce the heat of that oil. And then any kids under 12, you should always dilute their oil. Don't ever put it in your eyes. And if you do, you can use a carrier oil, like a tongue twister, to flush that essential oil out of your eyes. There's also, and we talked about this earlier, there's a vitality line. So that vitality line is specifically set for you to be able to use that oil internally. That is the purpose of the vitality line from Young Living, is that it is generally, those oils are generally regarded as safe and you can take it internally. There's some interesting information. We talked earlier about plant material. So there's some interesting information about plant material. It takes 60,000 rose blossoms to get 1 ounce of rose oil. So everybody's like, rose is so expensive. It's so expensive. Oh my God. I even say that. I'm like, man. But if you think about it, 60,000 pounds of rose blossoms is a lot of rose in order to get that 1 5 milliliter bottle. So, or 1 ounce. You don't even get 5 milliliter, you get an ounce. And then, obviously they package it in the 5 milliliters. Lavender is abundant. You can grow it almost anywhere. Most people love, lavender from France, but 220 pounds will provide 7 pounds of oil. Jasmine is another favorite of mine. It's also a little expensive. It's not, it's half the price of a rose oil, but it takes 8 million hand-picked blossoms to produce 2.2 pounds of oil. So how can you get started? I, again, love Young Living. They offer a premium starter kit for $165. It just recently went up $5 because they added 2 oils to the kit. So now has 12 oils and a diffuser and some additional samples. That pack, or that starter kit, if buying those oils separately, would cost you $410. Buying a starter kit from Young Living is $165. So it's a 60% discount on a diffuser and 12 bottles of oils. Each of those 5 milliliter bottles has about 90 drops in it. So we talked earlier about diffuser. If you're diffusing it, you use 9 or less drops, depending upon the size of your diffuser. Or if you're applying it topically, you're just using 1 drop. So they should last you quite a while. Once you buy the kit, it gets you a wholesale membership, which provides you with 24% off of retail pricing. So that's another advantage for buying the starter kit. The samples that I was talking about earlier that come in the kit are a Thieves household cleaner sachet. It's like a 1 ounce sachet, and the contents of it you would put in a 16-ounce spray bottle and use that to be able to clean your house. It's formulated with the Thieves oil blend, and it gives you a really deep cleaning without having to use synthetic oils. You also get 2 Ningxia sachets. So Ningxia is their premium juice, I'll call it, and it has superfruits in it. So it's got a bunch of antioxidant. It fights free radicals within your system, which I love, because when I go out, I went out and you go in the grocery store and you can like smell. You're almost dying from the chemicals that you're smelling or inhaling in there. So what Ningxia does is really cool, is it'll attach to those free radicals and disperse them for you. And then now in the kit, there's a Thieves waterless hand purifier. So I know we went over a little bit, and I wanted to make sure I paused and asked anybody if they had any questions. And if not, then I can get you guys out of here, and I really do appreciate your time. Any questions? Awesome. All right. Well, it was great to have you guys here today, and I will be having I got one question in chat. Hold on one second. Young Living has, is that kit 300, Yoli? I think they've got a 300 oil kit. It might be 268. I don't know exactly the number, but they have a very large kit with about, I want to say it's 250 to 300 oils. There's a lot of oils. They've got a lot of oils, yes. Any other questions? I can't hear you, Yoli. You got no audio. It's always something. Oh, I think I hear you now. Nope. I thought I did. You got all the information too. That'd have been great. It doesn't like you. Um, oh, there you go. It goes in and out. I can hear you. I can barely, I mean, it's like I can hear your earrings when they move, but that's it. It's trying.
Okay, can you
Oh,
hear me now?
yeah.
Oh, girl, long story. Okay, so yes, they do. And it's 268 oils.
I knew it.
And yeah, I was like, you're right, you're right. It's 268 or 69 even oils. And I think that kit, is that the kit that's 2,500?
Yeah, it's about 2,600 bucks if you're getting all the oils in that kit.
Yes.
It's not.
So, but listen, let me tell you, I've contemplated. I would have to like get a mad bonus to do it, but I think that it's a dope investment if this is going to be your full-time business.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
If this is your full-time business, that is the way to go. You get to experience the finest of everything in that kit.
Yep.
So it's absolutely amazing. And then too, I wanted to add where there is a premium starter kit, but for those where $160 is steep, they also have the one that isn't a premium starter kit. That's just a basic starter kit.
They've got a starter kit for $45.
Yep. So don't be intimidated by the price. Especially if you're just starting out, you're not extremely knowledgeable, and you're not a walking encyclopedia like Nicole. No, but I've been using Young Living at this point for over 3 years. It's 37 or 38 essential rewards orders, I think my web thing said. And it's changed my life too. Like, it's totally changed my life. I didn't get as in depth. I literally used it for the medicinal strength of it all, not total wellness. So I'm getting into that now, but because I don't really care for our current medical system. So I use them for their science. It's really good. And so I think that it's absolutely well worth it. I don't care where you start. I don't care if you start with 5 millimeters of grapefruit oil. Start.
I agree. I appreciate you adding that context, because that's the most important part. Is it doesn't have to cost a lot to get started. But as you start to incorporate them, you start to not have to, go to the doctor as much, or, you start to not, I mean, that's a natural thing that's going to happen. I'm not saying don't go to the doctor ever. I'm saying as you start to incorporate oils into your life, you stop, you start to, see a decline in sickness and an incline in wellness. And I think that's one of the important things that I've got. And again, the whole emotions and mood thing is just out of this world. Like, my life has just changed.
Yep.
Did you have a question? Nope. Okay. All right. Well, then that's it, ladies. As always. Oh wait, I have another question. Does Young Living have as many? Oh, that's the same question. How did it added your response right onto that original post? That's crazy. All right. If there's nothing else, then I will let you all go. I appreciate you coming. I'm going to stop the recording.